Hello and welcome back here on a Monday. Rob Morales, RCO Network, coming at you live here on Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn, and all the other channels to your amusement, talking about the Phoenix housing market. Money Market 15, the 15-minute show that takes about 30 minutes. Please welcome Miss Ashley Perkins.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday.
Back. She is back in action. And we do have a special guest, which I will allow Miss Ashley to introduce.
So what he told me is his name is JJ, and I said, why? Because he said Jeremy Jenkins, and they show up as a 5'9" Asian guy. It just doesn't really play in.
I think he said 5'10". I believe he did say 5'10".
They're always trying to make us shorter than we are. I tower in the Asian community at 5'10".
So this is JJ.
Hold on. There we go, JJ. Welcome, JJ. We're here.
There's a few things that I love once I met JJ on the phone, and I'm really grateful for being introduced to you in our world. And when I say our world, which leads into our world energy, just like our world, RCO Network. So our world energy, which is from, I'm like going to be flabbergasted because solar. Let's talk about this. Our world energy.
Let JJ give the intro.
Yeah.
You know your elevator pitch, sir.
Let's do it. Let's hear it, JJ.
Our World Energy, local owned and operated, started 10 years ago in Tucson. We are now one of the largest installers in the state of Arizona with over 15,000 installs year to date. We are the owned and operated by a little guy out of Phoenix, and all we are trying to do is help people in this community, making sure that they have energy independence. They have control over something that for many years they didn't. And that's one of those things that in a time we're living now in the last 2 to 3 years, we never knew where this world was going to take us, but now we have control of power. And that's something that, I'm 44, never thought I'd say that.
Is that little guy 5'10" by chance?
Nah, he's a little taller when he starts talking about solar.
So I want to welcome you to the show today. I appreciate you being out here. You're going to give a little information about solar, some questions that I had. I know Ashley had a few questions, but I'll let Ashley take the lead on this one.
Oh gosh. So I have the lead. One of the things that was very intriguing to me is Robert and I had been talking about for the past 3 weeks to a month that we wanted to find somebody who was very educated in solar to be introduced to us, and it just happened to be my son Ryder's dad, Ryan Drozier, who had a random phone call. This is why I talk about the universe. And it was like, hey, I'm working in solar, and there's this guy named JJ, and he's super awesome. And I'm like, oh, okay. Right? And then I met JJ, and he was like, you were just super awesome, and your story is so impeccable and incredible. And when people learn about solar, there's so many negative connotations or assumptions or what I actually really want to know, which would be the bottom question, is how the heck did you get to the position you were in? And why are you so passionate about it? Because when I spoke with you on the phone, I have never met in my life somebody who is as passionate about you as solar as you are.
It's more than anything else almost an accident. And we all had a lot of things over the last 2 years that we had to deal with. But with me, it was the decision. For 25 years plus, I sat in a car dealership. I sat in many different titles in a car dealership, trying to think that was helping people live their lives, get a better car. Yeah. But then all of a sudden, September of last year, actually August of last year, I was sitting in a car dealership. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. My wife's 7 months pregnant at the time, and I realized I'm not going to be able to see my daughter grow up. And all of a sudden, I had this epiphany that I needed to make a change. What I was doing was wrong. And I literally walked out of the dealership that night. I called my wife and said, hey, it's over. She went to a little bit of a panic saying, what do you mean it's over? I'm working at a hospital right now as a nurse. You can't leave me. We're 7 months pregnant.
That's
it's like,
crazy,
no,
huh?
I'm leaving my job.
She's going to kick your ass.
Yeah, no, she's flipping out, and she's literally like, what do you mean you're leaving? I was like, no, I've got to leave the life we're in. And I've been blessed my entire life to be able to be a salesperson. But the problem of it is I never had a product that was worth selling. Stumbled into a couple of solar places because I knew something about solar.
Yeah.
I was buying a house that had solar on it. I needed to learn. So it was a self-education process. But then it all falls back into I stumbled into Our World Energy. I sat down with the vice president. He told me the story about how we bettered people's lives. Yeah. And then it falls back to the stupidest side of it is where I came from. And I say stupid because I've been blessed with too many fortunate things to say it's luck. Starting this world as an orphan in a third world country, not having anything to wish in, and being brought to this country and given an opportunity just to live, being told that I wasn't going to be able to see and I was going to be blind by a certain age of my life, and being able to have eyesight up to my age now. All these things were just blessings. So I needed to be able to do something that I could actually help people. And then the biggest thing hit. My parents back east are on a fixed income. They can't afford how things are actually going up when it comes down to inflation and everything
These
else.
are adopted.
Yes.
Okay.
So I needed to figure out how I could actually impact everybody and create a legacy, because look at it. In 25 years, my daughter, who was born last November, is going to be 25.
When's her birthday?
November 19th.
Oh.
So I don't know how she's going to afford an electric bill in 25 years. All of a sudden, solar presents all these avenues, all these things that, if done properly, can benefit everybody it affects. The problem, if done incorrectly, it's evil. And that's the problem that most people are dealing with, is too much greed before people's need.
Ooh, I'm okay. Hold
write
on.
that down.
Read before. Okay,
So,
I got it.
So as far as solar goes, I mean, I think people have a lot of ignorance when it comes to that, at least apprehension, because they primarily go on the home, right? Is there other options besides on your home? Or?
There's the roof mount, and then there's ground mount. Ground mount also occurs different costs because there's trenching involved, and also as well as different things when it comes down to the setup. The biggest thing with solar is basically that need before greed. What happened is you had a lot of people who discovered that solar can save people money. But when they could save people money, they could also make a tremendous amount of money. Instead of passing on that savings directly to the client and giving them legacy of protection, they made their legacy improve, which is not what solar is here to do. Solar is here to empower and put the power back into the people's hands and take that third-party monopoly out of play.
Yeah.
I was confused when, so I bought my house a year and a half ago, and I bought it with solar, Tesla solar. Tesla is a well-known name. A year and a half later, dude, I still have no clue what I'm doing.
Do you like Tesla? Do you like the Tesla?
I don't know. I don't even know what I don't know what I don't know, and that was.
Are you saying that because JJ's here? Is that,
no, it is a huge thing. Like I call Tesla, and I have the app, and I'm confused, and I call APS because I have APS, and there's APS and SRP, and I'm learning about the kilowatts and how much it used, and I'm going, what? Because I inherited it through buying the home, so I inherited a lease. So this is not a question and answer portion of it. This is more of an education of the empowerment, because I'm still learning how to use solar to credit myself back.
Leases are probably the biggest destruction of the solar industry. Reason being is because
I would say that.
Leasing empowers the leasing company and does not empower the person who's buying it. Leasing is all you're doing when you're leasing is you're hedging your cost of what kilowatts would be with the leasing company versus the power company. And yes, they might give you a little bit of an advantage today, but the reciprocal effect of 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, it lines back up to what the power company is. That's why, just like anything, purchasing a car versus leasing a car. Leasing a car works only if it's designed for that person's actual habits. Purchasing a car, anybody habits can, at that point, you can create your own habits.
So how do you, does your company get around that? I mean, because I would say it, because I'm in real estate myself, one of the biggest, I guess, lack of motivation. What's the difference here? What's not motivator, the other one?
Well, it's a demotivator. So
demotivator. How about that?
I mean, that's such a juvenile
yeah.
word, but like when you go to purchase a home and it has a lease on it,
that's the biggest hesitation.
I wasn't educated enough to understand it, but one of the things that I love that JJ said is the understanding the power of it. So I didn't understand the power of it.
Well, and again with leasing, when you're buying a home, that lease amount gets put against your DTI. So
It does.
So basically if you qualified for the home and it had a lease payment of $300, it may disqualify you from purchasing that home. So is there ways around that you have?
Not really ways around it, but it's more of the consumer itself actually, and the loan officers and real estate understanding what solar does. In most situations like APS, it's a replacement program. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to hold something against somebody that you haven't held against them before. You don't hold the power bill against them in their DTI.
Yeah.
You hold an average power bill, but you're holding the actual loan amount of their solar system, which is about 30% less. So how is that fair for the lending institutions to do that to them? It's not. It's because right now solar is so new to the industry, nobody knows how to regulate it yet. Nobody knows what true value of solar is. And the most important thing is to step backwards a second, it's expectation.
Yep.
Every single thing in life is fair as long as the expectation has been properly set. The problem with leases and even with solar purchases in general is nobody laid the groundwork and the foundation for the expectation of what they're going to get from solar. Your situation, Ashley, is that when literally you walked into it where the real estate agent couldn't tell you, the person who was selling to you couldn't tell you, nobody could educate you. That's what we do. Solar doesn't work for everybody. It works for like 98% of the people as long as the house is set up correctly.
Yeah.
But if the expectation is not explained properly, they don't know what's going to happen today, tomorrow, and 10 years down the line.
One of the things I love that you said when we had spoken, and I did talk to JJ previously to bringing you on, was you said creating legacy. So I thought that was very intriguing because when I purchased my home, I was already 7.5 years into the lease. I wasn't personally. The lease was. So I took on the lease of somebody else. However, depending on the trajectory of my future with this property, I could pay it off and create, just like Robert and I always talk about, buying a house and creating a legacy. That's what we do. So you brought that up, like creating this legacy. And how can we prep, like, with our P's, like proper preparation prevents poor performance. How are you going to properly prepare these people into buying? I know I'm going on a little tangent, but this is something I think about, leaving a legacy. And you brought that up, and that was very impactful for me.
The thing about it is we don't sell solar.
You don't.
We sell the opportunity to improve your lives through the median of solar. It doesn't matter whether you're selling solar, real estate, cars. If you do the process correctly, and you take the value of the client first, and you at that point exponentially improve that process continuously, everybody wins. The problem, it's need to greed. I know if I improve this process to a point where every customer feels like they're winning, because they are, exponential people will improve, because I'm explaining to them what's going to happen. I might not lower your electric bill today, but I can look into a crystal ball. I can tell you in 10 to 15 years with inflation the way that it's naturally going to be affected, you're going to save money. And you're going to take control of something that you never thought you could take control of. It's no different than taking a gas line and drilling it right in your backyard and buying gas directly from your house. The only difference of it is this is something that you cannot live without. If you don't have gas, you can take a bus. You can call an Uber. If you don't have power, you don't have refrigeration. You don't have anything in Arizona. So that's the one thing that nobody ever thinks about.
Yeah. And are you working? Is your company work with any of the major electric companies? Do you work independently for them?
No, we work with we literally have to do permitting and contracting with every single municipality in the state of Arizona, as well as New Mexico and the other states that we function in. So no, we literally do it all for our clients. Our clients, all they continuously do is what they're used to do: plug things into the wall and flip switches. We don't ask them to do anything. It's not like I'm going to ship them a pallet full of panels and say, here you go, Ashley, climb up on your roof and install these puppies, making sure they're facing at this angle here and you're good to go. No, we take care of everything for them front to back and warranty everything.
Do you have at-home kits that can...
You wouldn't want to do with what these guys are doing. Sitting on top of a roof at 120 degrees is not a fun place to be.
Yeah, tell me about your crew.
We're blessed. We have some of the greatest crews out there. When I started with the company about a year ago, we had like 12 install teams. We only have 35 now. We have grown exponentially in the last couple years, really since the beginning, but more than anything else, it's because we never forgot where we started. We started in a little trailer down in Tucson. We started door to door, everything else, and we built our ways up. Now we have 2 beautiful offices in Phoenix and everything else, but we empower the people that work with us to be able to do a great job. And the more than anything else, everybody takes pride in what they're able to do. They're able to provide freedom from people.
So I guess the real question for me is ASU or U of A?
I'm from Maryland, University of Maryland.
That's a good answer. That's a
good
safe
answer.
answer right there. That's a safe
I would like to change the trajectory of this conversation
We're at 15 minutes.
because I'm beyond like intrigued and having solar myself. I bought into it. I know jack about it. I'm so confused. I don't get it. I have APS. I'm trying to understand APS. I'm trying to understand this. So I feel like this needs to be like a part 2.
Well, and
Of like where we're going with this. Like there's so many questions. I have a whole nother page of questions and we don't have that much time.
well, and we can kind of finish off with that. What are some of the most like common questions that people do have, or at least some of the hesitations that they have that you can kind of fill in as we kind of transition to the last part?
The biggest question that most people always ask is, what does it do to my house? More than anything else, it actually falls back into your world. What's my realtor going to say?
Oh,
depends.
what are
Do
you
you
going to
own-
say, Robert?
do you own or
Roberto?
And that's really more, it's that and understanding the federal ITC, the tax credits that come with solar, and understanding how that actually is going to be applied through the cost of it. A lot of it is really ciphering through anything else. The advertising and the way people have told people solar works, zero money, this, that, clearing the smoke. But most of it's more than anything else, it's creating the proper expectation and understanding what they need to know, what the real estate agent's going to need to know, what they're going to personally need to know, what the transferability of it is, and more than anything else, what the payment effect of it is. Because most people are okay with APS and SRP raising their rates 2 to 3 times a year.
Yeah.
That's not fair. How can you create a budget over that? I'm going to give you 2 options, and after the second option, your payment will never change, and at the end of it, you're going to own the system.
If I could just interject real quick. So,
Yeah.
as I was too, JJ.
You're going to anyway.
JJ, what I've learned about you is that you hold educational classes. So when you said you're a real estate agent, do you guys hold classes for real estate agents to help them better understand, to educate their clients about purchasing a home with solar?
What our next project actually we just started, and that is actually through the BNI networks and like our CEO network and things of that nature, is creating a portal so people that do not understand things will get the ego out of the way and ask. They can do it anonymously. They can do it just right in front of me, but ask the information you don't know. It's like if I was to try to tell somebody how to sell a home, I have no clue what I'm doing. I'd ask somebody else for the information. Vice versa.
I'm just sitting here.
The problem with most people is it's like ego gets in the way. They don't want to ask the question because they're scared that they're going to be looked down on because they asked the question. No, my mom told me a long time ago, the best question asked is every question.
Yeah,
you got to ask those
we
questions.
don't know what we don't know.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, and if you could answer, like, if you could tell something to agents, especially myself, if you could tell something to agents right now, what would you say? Hey, this is what you need to know directly that affects you as a.
If you truly care about your clients, you're going to protect their legacy of what you're preaching to them and protect their power. You're going to protect the one thing that is attached to their house that you've neglected to address ever. And now you're going to. You're going to show them that not only are they going to protect their house in a market that's very unstable, but they're going to make something stable that was always been unstable. The thing about it is that realtors have always preached wealth in houses and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But yet you've never told people how to save the money that they've bought when they bought these big houses. Because here's the craziest thing. As a realtor, you take somebody out of a 2-bedroom apartment and take them into their first 1,500 square foot house.
Yeah.
Everything gets tripled.
Well, so with Robert, that's what I love about him. And I think that's what intertwined all of us with our network, our network.
Our worlds collide.
Our worlds have collided. And, Robert coming from his background with working in social services and
yes.
Me coming from my background being a licensed foster parent, and then you coming as a child of the foster care system. We're not just about the real estate world and sales. We're about our community and giving back to our community. And I think and no, that's a lie. I don't think. I absolutely 100% know that's why our worlds collided.
Well, when you're impacted, I think, by those worlds and those situations, those circumstances, you have a sense of humility, one, but you also have a better understanding of what people actually do need versus, what they want, and you can kind of separate we talked about ego, separating your ego a little bit and really connecting with somebody on that what's best for them, even though they don't see it necessarily that way.
And a lot of times it's more than anything else is realizing that we will be that person at some point in our life.
Yep.
And we have to accept that, because I know at one point I'm going to be 85 years and not able to, I'll be on a fixed income. I'm not going to be able to work the same way. And
Only 85?
I'm going to be.
I'm gonna live to be 106. So you want to like?
I mean,
I don't know if anybody wants to live that long, by the way.
Heck
you know?
yeah, 106.
it's that like forever living pill. Do you really
Yeah.
want to go through all that? It's just
Heck
like,
yeah.
I already know my daughter's going to send me through enough drama in my life that I'm scared. So yeah, it's going to be a tough next couple of years, but I'm ready for it.
The universe is magical, and I want, all of us are in sales, and all of us are here, and whether in real estate sales or solar or the position I am in, with our companies and the way that we've collided, this is not about sales. This is about creating our next generation. And that's why Robert and I have, our podcast every Monday, is to educate people and give them the nit and gritty, the fun, the
7 Ps.
The 7 P. No, I mean,
Ashley likes to go over her 7 Ps.
I know, but we can, we do. We get bad news, we get good news, we get educational. We bring on people that we appreciate, and this is due for another part. So let's go over the market.
So we'll bring
Are you ready?
JJ right
Ready?
back. We'll bring him next time. We'll set up a date, and if you guys have any comments or questions, go ahead and drop those.
Not a real date. He's married and he has a baby.
Yes.
Okay.
Not to mention, JJ will be here for our October event, October 20th. If you want to buy tickets to RCO Network's Gala event, October 20th. Like I said, the link is down in the bottom description. So we have tickets on sale now. But we're not here to talk about ticket sales. We're here to talk about the housing market. Housing is at a standstill. Can you believe it? Interest rates going up recently as much as are close to 7%. We are on a basically, like I said, a standstill. This market is so weird right now, so stagnant. The Redfin article basically says that pending sales are dropping, that houses are longer on market. I see kind of an inflection point. So if you want to go, here, I guess I'll go to the next slide. We're at about a 3-month supply, and we've been there since what, July, Ash?
Yeah, and we've
been
from
pretty stagnant,
2.9 to 3.2 since July. We've kind of been like.
And what I've been seeing, I have about 6 buyers right now, and I have about 4 listings. All of them are just sitting and stagnant. Like everybody's just kind of waiting for the other ball to drop. You got sellers. They're like, what? I have an interest rate of like 3%. I got like 2 years ago. I don't think I want to sell in this market. It's just there's some weird stuff going on. I think I'm going to hold. And then you have buyers that are like, rates can't. If you read that Redfin article, I'm paying $300 more just a month. In a month, I'm paying $300 more just because of the interest rates. So you have buyers kind of on the sidelines waiting for the housing market to drop. There's really you got both sides just kind of staying there, and that's reflective in our index. We watch the indexes. And you'll see here demand, again, going over demand. Red does not mean, good or bad. It just means that there's not enough buyers out there. And just like green on the supply side does not mean good. It just means that we have less than a short supply. So red would mean we have too many houses. And then a green means we have on demand means we have too many buyers. The market index overall is a balanced market.
We're very balanced. Oh, 10-4. That's my birthday. Tomorrow's my birthday.
Tomorrow's Ashley's birthday.
I turned 40.
So, yeah, she's getting older.
Rude.
Slightly. But the market is reflective of that. So, again, seeing that our housing supply is just stagnant, everybody's just sitting there. I don't know where the direction is going. We're at levels going back to January. Let me see if I can pull it up. So, we're about
March 2019?
This is pre-COVID. We're at levels reaching that in a time period in our market where it should be selling a little bit before the winter holiday. We're not. We're just staying stable. So the direction of the market, I've been asked a couple times, where are we going? Where are we headed? It's really hard to say right now. I have a feeling, and I am giving a prediction. So investors that bought the last 2 years, they're not seeing the returns, the yield on the purchases. I think there's going to be a wave of investor sales in coming January. And we're going to see a flood of supply come in January, which will be good for buyers, sort of, if the rates kind of stay low. Also, what's predicted is the Fed increase in December, which will increase every other variable rate out there. So housing will be impacted that way too. So I don't know where this market's going to go. I just think, again, it's going to continue to be stagnant and flat for a very long time. So if there was a time to sell, it would be now. Otherwise, you're waiting another 7 to 10 years before the market cycle kicks through. And that's to say that we go back to a normal market cycle. We're not anywhere near a normal market cycle right now.
How would that affect you, JJ, in yours?
It affects us because people at that point stopped worrying about if I sell my house in 5 years. And the big question of it for the last couple of years has always been, what do I do if I sell my house next 2 to 3 years? Well, now if somebody's literally sitting in their house for 4 to 5 years, they know what their expenses are going to be. Yep. And creating that to be a fixed expense is actually more impactful for their lives.
Amen.
And do you think there's going to be, because the news that I keep seeing is that electricity is impacted by the water levels by the Hoover Dam. And certain environmental issues are impacting our energy usage consumption. Obviously, things getting hotter, we're using more of the air conditioners and things that are going on. Do you see an impact relating to energy right now, electricity specifically?
Well, if you look at this simple fact, Palo Verde, it's a nuclear power plant. 20,000 gallons of water are wasted per minute to cool one reactor. That's 80,000 gallons. It's 240 million gallons a day is wasted in water. We're in Arizona. That's one resource we cannot replace. Yeah. And even if it's gray water, dirty water, however water, it's still water. Yeah. But go to Vegas. Go to cross Lake Mead. It's now it's as low as it's ever been. And at one point they said it would be down by 2030, 2050. No, it'll be done in probably 10 years. So you have no choice but to make an alternative switch to power. But here's the thing that nobody really realizes. You're either going to switch to solar by choice or by force. Yeah.
Interesting.
If APS has told every single person out there that they're going to go renewable energy by 2050, do you think they're going to give you renewable energy in 2050 at 2022 prices? Do you think...
That is a good point.
I'm going to interrupt you because I love this because, like I said, when I bought my home, I was leased it, but I'm grandfathered in to 7 years ago, the APS number.
You have what they call literally, you have the Huckleberry of solar systems. Because literally Tesla...
You Huckleberry?
Because of what the ACC had back in the day before they regulated the way they do right now, like every single person who signs with solar today is 10% less in their buyback than anybody else. Because they just did the buyback reduction effective October 1. Yep. You have one that is protected for life as long as you do not adjust anything.
Don't sell that house, girl.
That is at a ridiculous rate, which we won't go into because I can never repeat that rate ever again in solar. But that's a lot.
Time out.
But it's no more than anything else. It's just the environmental concern of what you have. And the thing about solar is that as every rate goes in, SRP just raised their rates 4.75%. Plus natural inflation went up 8 to 10%. That's 15% more for the same power you got last year. I don't know anybody who got a 15% raise last year.
I want to, and I know we need to wrap up, but I want to do one quick thing because you're talking about this. Let's wrap up real quick because we definitely need to do part 2. Super quick in like 1.53 minutes, get power.
1.53. Okay.
1.53 minutes.
We can work with that.
So more than anything else, we just don't affect solar in Arizona. For every sale of solar that we do, we actually give a very large contribution to a company called Give Power. What they actually do is they build fresh water plants in third world countries that do not have the availability to access solar nor fresh water. So right now we have 3 plants that we've already built in the Philippines. We were supposed to have 4 and 5 built last year, but COVID got in our way. We are picking up that project again this year. We'll have over 5 water plants in the Philippines providing clean water for people powered by nothing but solar, funded by sales in Arizona.
So is that part of the solar, I guess part of your passion is not only to cater to solar, but also to cater to the water conservation and water reserves and stuff like that too?
No, Our World Energy, it's our name. It is literally to embody the benefit and to help every single person in any single aspect that our company can provide. It could be solar today, it could be water tomorrow, it could be a healthy energy drink 10 years down the line. What determines our path is what determines the client. What does the client need that's not being served properly? It started with solar, and it will always be solar, but it will stem into other things beyond solar as it needs to be.
Oh.
That's totally awesome, too. So if you go over to ourworldenergy.com, you can find more information about We Are World Energy. Is it We Are World or just Our World?
Our World Energy.
So if you scroll, I kept saying we, like...
Well, We World Energy.
But if you scroll down just a little bit more...
Down a little bit more?
Yeah, keep going, keep
going,
going, keep going, keep going. Wait, hold on.
Oh.
Back up, back it up, back it up. Wait, no, back down.
Lovely couple, yes. Yeah.
Up and down, up and down.
Where am I going?
Right there.
Oh, right here.
This is pretty phenomenal right here. Our World Energy.
Has assisted over 5,000 people gaining access to 20 years of clean water by donating 100,000 and counting to Give Power.
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal.
So if you want information there, go contact them at ourworldenergy.com, or I contact JJ directly. Let me see if I can pull this up. Maybe. Nope, not today. JJ or just Jeremy. Whichever. We haven't determined which one we're going to call him yet.
JJ in the house.
He's a district manager for Our World Energy. I'm going to get that down right.
Our
Contact me 623-256-2312. So again, thank you very much for being on the show, sir.
Not a problem.
super
Appreciate the
excited.
opportunity.
It's hard to pack everything in just a quick turnaround. I mean, it's already over. This whole thing's over. But there's going to be a part 2, right, Miss Perkins?
Yes, because there are so many amazing things. I've already written down my personal questions. And my ask of you and anybody that's watching is to ask your questions. Like, what are you curious about? Whether it's Our World Energy, about the nonprofit they're involved in, how it works, the money, the cost, the lease, the buying, the APS, SRP. I mean, gosh, I could list off probably a million questions, and I've only written down like 25. I would appreciate all of you guys.
And that's short for Ashley.
Yeah, you're done. Yeah. Good talk. So I would love for you guys to get involved in asking those questions. So next time we have JJ on, we can kind of execute some of that.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. So I want to appreciate Miss Perkins for joining us today, co-hosting our CO Network. Rob Morales coming at you live on a Monday. Come reach us. Come back to us. I'm getting confused. It's Monday. Come back to us next Monday and get a little bit more information about the Phoenix housing market. JJ, thank you so much. Our World Energy. We'll catch you guys at a future show. So see you soon.